Hello guys, welcome to my world of programming. We're gonna be talking about another phenomenal topic when it comes to web API. Remember web API, some people call it backend, some people call it RESTful service, some people call it um, um, web service. Do you understand? There are many terminology you can use, right? Before we continue, I want to talk about a little bit about this YouTube channel of mine. I know you'll find it very helpful, right? And this one, all the videos I'm making, I'm uploading them to this YouTube channel for license handy tips. So if you want a place where you can see what I'm all about, when I said I can teach you programming from database, mobile, web API, and what I've used to build my system called license handy tips, right? All the videos are going to be uploaded on YouTube channel, because on social media I am being censored and filtered and blocked, especially TikTok. It's fine. So what is fluent validation? I want us to talk about fluent validation, and then I want to give you a nice scenario as to why you will need this. This is very powerful, right? So fluent validation is a .NET library for building strongly typed validation rules. Fluent Validation 11 supports the following platforms: .NET Core, .NET 5, .NET 6, .NET Standard, for automatic fluent validation with ASP.NET and so forth. So we're done with reading that. So how do you make use of this? Now, firstly, let's check the NuGet package that we would need. So you will need this one for both Web API and MVC. So when you get here, you need to search fluentvalidation.asp.net core, right? So this is what you will need to install, this guy. That's all. How do you register this guy? Remember, I moved all my registrations from program class. They are now part of the installers. So here you find on MVC installer. There we go. With this line, you want to say services.add controllers with the views, right? And then you're going to say .add fluent validation, right? And then you're going to say options such as option register validators from assembly containing program. Remember, all the classes, they make use of the startup entry level, which is program class. So that is covered. So fluent validation, what is the purpose, right? Let's go. I have created a folder called validations, and inside I have I'm versioning the validations. For now it's only version 1. Inside I have a folder called general. Already you can see where this is going. So firstly, I will start with the contract. v1 request general post 1 feedback request version 1. So when I want to submit a feedback that comes from mobile application, remember web API, it's what you need to protect the database, but also it's what will be used to allow, it's a backend for a reason, right? Front end such as mobile application, web, or even software applications to connect to it. So these guys, when they come as a request, all these values, when they come as a request, I want to go through validation process. So that comes in as this request with 5 properties. However, I have created another class called post1 feedback request validator v1, and this will inherit from abstract validator, making use of what? Of that request that I just showed you, to say this will be what the client will send to us from the front end. So you're going to make sure that you link it to this guy, right? Then the constructor, inside the constructor, I'm gonna use 3 rules. So you see I'm applying them on 3 properties: title, rating, and the message. So for the first rule on the title, I'm saying listen. Rule 4 defines a validation rule for a specific property, which is title, right? And then the length determines a length validator on the current rule builder, right? So what I'm saying you're going to have the minimum characters and maximum characters. There's a reason why I did this. Remember, I'm doing this for the mobile application, right? And then with the message, if you don't meet this rule, right, applying this guy, the length, you're going to kick this message. I'll show the message in a second. The second one, which is the rating integer. Now, this one should be less than 6, right? Less than 6, but should be greater than 0. That means it should be 1 to 5. Remember, the ratings work with the stars, like you just click the star. So there are 5 stars. Greater than 0, but less than 6. If there's an error, there will be the message. Finally, the message, I wanted the length, the minimum of characters should be 5 all the way to 100, and I don't want more. So let me show you the error messages. It will say the title length should be 10 to 20 characters. The rating length should be 1 to 5 characters. The message length should be 5 to 100 characters. So you understand this. So how does it work? If right now, I'm going to hit try out and I'm going to remove, let me just type str, message str, and the rating 0. These are the only 3 things I care about. I don't care about the rest. I can just write to Mikadi here. It's fine. So please take note of this. There's gonna be a bad request. I'm expecting 2 things. I'm expecting the response of 200, everything was success, or I'm expecting a bad request. Now I want to execute this and I want you to pay attention. Execute. And then what did I get as a response? The response is 400, which is bad request. What does it say? It says 1 or more validation errors occurred. And then it says the title length should be, remember that message? Remember this one? It says, now this one is very interesting. Rating must be greater than 0. That means it overridden the message that I gave it, which is this one. It overrided this one. It used the default message, and the message length should be, you get the point. But let's say now I satisfy the validation, want to say 3, and hit execute. You see now the message, the rating error disappeared, and I'm left with this problematic title and message. Then let's say test title, execute. You see, I'm left with this. This is a validation rule. It will kick in until all the conditions are met. This is how I said you need the web API as a backend to protect the integrity of a database from the front end. The front end can be a mobile application, either Android or iOS app. It can also be software application. It can also be a web application. So the back end, it will protect that to say you need to go through this, right? So this is something I want to show you. But how does these errors get caught? That you asked. I think we should do part 2 of this. What do you think? I think this was only the first part, because there's a reason why on my Swagger, and remember we spoke about Swagger. Yes, I'm gonna do part 2. Remember Swagger is this beautiful UI. This helps me to understand my endpoint. This helps me to understand the documentation of this system, right? So with that being said, I'm gonna do part 2. And I want you to stay, tuned and pay attention. I can teach you all of this. If you are interested, or if you know anyone who might be interested in programming, learning programming for 25 Rand per session, that session will be an hour. Any time from Monday to Friday, between from 8 p.m. until 9 p.m. I'm gonna leave my numbers, and I'm gonna ask you to spread the word, and I'm gonna ask you to leave your comment. Tell me what you think about this. This is juicy stuff. Like, it blew my mind when I first bumped into this. Right. Until next time.